I'm out here with my client, Sharell, taking a look at this 1 acre. We're trying to get it. We're trying to get it. Sharell in the building.
Well, right now, the community is mourning the death of an Atlanta club owner.
Sharell Canty was shot and killed over the holiday weekend in Gwinnett County. We're told Canty was the co-owner of Opium and is well known in Atlanta's nightlife scene.
Nobody threw a party like Sharell Canty, and nobody who knew her, not her crew, not her business partners, not the city of Atlanta, saw this coming. A Sunday morning, a quiet street, a neighbor with a bad feeling, and behind one door, a woman who lit up every room she ever walked into, lying dead, shot twice in the head. The person police say did it? Someone Sharell once called her wife. That is where the story starts. And it only gets darker from here. If you are new here, this is Mystora Crimes, where we go deep into the cases that shake communities, break hearts, and demand to be told. Real people, real stories. No sensationalism, just truth, if that is the kind of content that matters to you. Subscribe right now and hit the bell, because Sharell Canty deserves more than a headline. She deserves to be remembered fully. So let's do that. Sharell Canty was 44 years old, and she was, by every account, exactly the kind of person Atlanta does not have enough of. She co-owned Opium nightclub, one of the city's most vibrant spaces, and spent years building a career as a party promoter and event connector, specifically for Atlanta's LGBTQ+ community. She also hosted events at Boogaloo Restaurant. But if you reduce her to a job title, you miss the whole point. Her co-worker and friend Tajai, Henry, described her with the kind of clarity that only comes from genuinely knowing someone. Sharell has her own aura, Henry said. When she walks into a club, everybody knows Sharell's here. Not because she demanded attention, because she generated it naturally. There is a difference. People who demand attention exhaust a room. People who generate it the way Sharell did, they complete it. She knew the business inside and out. She understood what it took to build something that lasted. She knew how to run a business, Henry said. She had great partners, great staff. She just had people in place that helped her align the business and take it to the top. That is not luck. That is years of work, years of showing up, years of caring more than the average person cares. She was on top of her career, moving forward, full of plans. Her cousin Aletha Hazel Ponder would later write that Sharell had so much more that she had planned to offer this world. And that is the sentence that cuts deepest when you sit with this case. Not what was taken, but what was still coming. The event she had not thrown yet. The people she had not connected yet. The version of herself she was still becoming. Whatever that looked like, she never got to find out. Now, let's talk about the woman police say took all of that away. Stephanie Byram. 48 years old, a real estate agent based in Grayson, Georgia, the same quiet suburb where Sharell lived. On the surface, Byram was the picture of community stability, professional, established, the kind of person neighbors wave to, the kind of person people call when they are ready to buy their first home, trustworthy by reputation, grounded by profession. She and Sharell had a history. Police say the two had previously been in a relationship. Multiple reports have identified Byram as Sharell's ex-wife, and that single word, ex, is where this entire case hinges, because the relationship was over. Whatever they had built together, whatever they had promised each other, that chapter was closed. They were no longer together. They were living separate lives in the same general area, and by all appearances, moving on. On the morning of Sunday, May 24th, 2026, a neighbor noticed something wrong at a home on Wilkerson Way and called 911 at 8:42 a.m. Officers arrived and found Sharell's body. By Monday, Gwinnett County police had made an arrest. Stephanie Byram was taken into custody and charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm during the commission of felony. 4 charges, each one deliberate. And the one that matters most, malice murder, is not just a legal label. In Georgia, malice murder means the killing was intentional, premeditated, not heat of the moment, not an accident that spiraled, according to the arrest warrants. Sharell was shot twice in the head, 2 shots, at close range. That is not panic. If these charges hold a decision that was made, the community reaction was immediate and raw. Neighbors described the street as one of those places where nothing happens. Generally, our call volume in this area is fairly benign, a Gwinnett County police spokesperson said. We really don't have a lot of death calls in this area. That statement alone tells you something. This did not fit the neighborhood. It did not fit either of these women's public profiles. It did not fit anything anyone expected. And that dissonance, the gap between who these women appear to be and what allegedly happened, is exactly what makes this case so psychologically unsettling. Here is a question that this case forces you to sit with. They were exes. The relationship was done. So, what was happening on that Sunday morning? What brought them together inside that house before 9 a.m.? Was there a conversation that went wrong? A confrontation that had been building for weeks? A boundary that kept getting crossed after the breakup ended the official relationship, but not the emotional one? We do not have those answers yet. The investigation is active and no trial date has been set. But the pattern itself, an ex-partner, a domestic classification, a crime scene in a private home, is one that investigators and psychologists will tell you carries specific warning signs. Breakups do not always end the danger. Sometimes they intensify it. The period after a relationship ends, particularly when one person is not ready for it to be over, can be one of the most volatile and high-risk windows in any domestic situation. And here is something most people do not talk about enough. Domestic violence inside LGBTQ plus relationships is just as real, just as dangerous, and just as deadly as anywhere else, but it is far less visible. The CDC tells us that 43.8% of lesbian women report having experienced physical violence, stalking, or rape by a partner in their lifetime. That number rivals rates seen in heterosexual relationships. And yet 44% of LGBTQ plus survivors of intimate partner violence report being denied shelter services when they sought help. The danger is real. The infrastructure to catch it is not always there, which raises the hardest question of all. One that no one on the outside of the situation can answer, but one that matters deeply. Were there signs? Were there moments before May 24th where something fell off, where a line was crossed, where Sharell or someone closer felt something was wrong? We may learn more as this case moves through the courts. But right now, the people who loved her are not asking questions. They are just grieving. It just wasn't believable, Tajai Henry said. And when someone uses that word believable in the wake of a murder, what they are really saying is, nothing in my understanding of these people prepared me for this. That is not naivety. That is what it looks like when something is hidden well. Sharell Canty's friends are not going to let her disappear. They are keeping Opium open. They are going to throw the events she would have thrown. They are going to bring out the Dom Perignon and feel her absence at every table. Sharell going to tell us to party and ball like she's still here, Henry said. We're going to keep her legacy alive. That is love. That is community. And is also the most painful kind of tribute. The kind where you honor someone by doing the exact thing that reminds you they're gone. Her cousin Aletha wrote it plainly online. If you had the pleasure of being her family or part of her inner circle, you were truly blessed to share in her borrowed time. Borrowed time. That phrase has been sitting with me since I read it, because none of us know how much time we have. But most of us do not expect the person who is supposed to be behind us to be the one standing in the way. Stephanie Byram remains in Gwinnett County Jail. The case is active. A trial is ahead. And as more details emerge, motive, timeline, the full history between these two women, Mystora Crimes will be here covering every development. But before I let you go, I need you to think about something. And I mean really sit with it. How well do you know the private version of the people in your life? Not the version at the party. Not the version on Instagram. The version that exists after midnight, after a breakup, after the mask comes down. How many people around you are carrying something they have never said out loud? And for anyone in this community watching right now, if something feels wrong in a relationship or a past relationship, Please do not wait for it to escalate. The resources exist. You deserve to use them. Sharell Canty was 44. She had a club, a community, a future, and she deserved every single year she was not given. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think happened in that house? What does this case say about the danger that hides inside familiar faces? Be respectful. A real woman lost her life. But be honest. These conversations matter. And if this story moved you, subscribe to Mystora Crimes right now. Hit the bell. Share this video. Because the best thing you can do for Sharell and for every person whose story we tell on this channel is make sure the world does not forget them. I will see you in the next one.